My name is Ayshe Kadir, and I have been a property investor in the UK market for 24 years. I know I don't look old enough, but trust me, I have been there. And I've been a business owner for 24 years too. So 8 years ago, I started investing in the States. Any ideas why I invested in the States 8 years ago? Okay. Good exchange rate. Good exchange rate. Great. What else?
Big capital growth.
Good capital growth. What else? Think about it. When you're watching TV programs with all these American programs, what do you notice about properties? Big and cheap. Cheap. So property prices, in comparison to what you're actually paying for UK property prices, you can get phenomenal properties for the same, if not slightly less value of money. So what I'm going to actually do is share with you why I still believe that right now is a perfect time to invest in the States. Good or good? Good. You're going to have to talk to me, so I like to have some feedback. First of all, I'd like to thank Claire and Darren for inviting me to speak with you this evening. And now I'm going to actually ask you to help me out. So as I start going through some tips, and I'm going to do a 10-minute presentation tonight, because the floor is actually for Sanjay. But you're going to actually learn some great ways of making money. So the first thing is, what specifically do you need right this moment in time? What did I start off by asking you? Money. Cash. Okay. So that's one of the biggest things that you all are looking for, correct? Yes? Yeah. Okay, now, the first problem that most people find when they're looking at buying properties is what? A lack of money, cash. Okay. So the reason being is what's currently happening in the UK and in the US is that banks are reluctant to loan money. They're asking for what? More and more deposits, which again goes back to cash. Okay, now, what we're going to actually introduce to you is a concept that we've actually been doing most of last year, which is buy and flip properties. Do you all understand the term flip? Yeah. Yes? Anybody not? Hands up? Okay. Flip is when we instantly sell. So we buy a property at a very low price. We often refurb it, rehab it, same difference, and then we sell it on, flip it to someone else. Now the biggest problem with most people is, well, if it's in the States, 1, how do I find these properties? 2, how do I finance them? 3, how do I actually do all this rehabbing? How do I know that the builders are being trustworthy? And you name it, I'm sure you can come up with a whole list of extra things that you can tell me, well, you know, it's too dangerous, how do I know where my money's going, all that sort of thing. So our new program that we're launching to the UK market is one that we've been using for our own self in the States, and that's where we are going to actually partner with people. So that means for a very small investment, you become our actual partners. So at this point in time, you say, well, how do we know who you are, and what happens if we just hand over cash and you're going to disappear? Yes or yes? You know, guys, you're going to be thinking this stuff. Well, the reason that we know our system is going to work for you is because you become shareholders in one of our US companies. It's that company that will actually be buying properties. Good or good? Good. You guys talk to me. Okay. The whole plus is this. The company owns the property, you are shareholders, therefore you are owners of the actual, guys, talk! You're all going to be owners of these properties. Now the way that our system works is this. We will be buying bank repossessed properties, also known as REO, real estate owned, i.e. the bank has actually taken back the actual properties, i.e. repossessed properties. We also refer to it as foreclosed properties in the States. So you've all heard about the massive foreclosure problems in the States? Mm-hmm. Now, banks are in the business of what? Making money. So are they in the business of holding on to properties? No, and they are holding on to a lot of property in the States. So we are able to negotiate very substantial discounts with banks for their real estate owned properties. Now, if you owned a property and a bank repossessed that property, what condition are you going to leave that property?
Not very good.
Not very good. You're going to take out some of your aggression and frustration and upset on that property because you know that the bank is about to actually repossess it. Agreed?
Yeah.
So when we buy these properties, we know that we are going to have to spend money rehabbing it. We have crews of people. Remember, I've been out in the States for 8 years. So we have crews of people that will actually be going through and doing all the renovations. But in the interim, once we've actually acquired the property, the first thing we do is we start to market the property, even before we've even stepped foot on the property. The reason being is we need to start to actually filter out our actual purchaser because we don't want to hold on to this property for any length of time. Yes or yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point I'm thinking, well, who can afford to buy these properties? Again, I'm not sure how much you actually follow in terms of the news, but President Obama has put in a new tax credit program for first-time buyers. So he is offering an incentive to people to get into the property market because he sees that there's a massive problem there. So he's offering an incentive, which means that you can keep more of your earned income before paying it over in tax. Now, the American system is slightly different than the UK system. You know where you'll pay PAYE, i.e. you pay tax as you earn it? In the States, you don't do that. You basically declare, every single person has to actually fill in a tax return, submit it, and then they get a tax bill at the end of the year. So you have to actually put aside money for your tax bill. So if the government is giving you a tax credit, that's money in your pocket. Yes or yes? Mm-hmm. So one of the first things is that we work with what the government legislation is. The second thing is this. We're going to show you how we will be buying properties. I'll show you if I have my PowerPoint, you can actually see this. And I'll show you some of the actual returns that we've been getting on properties. Okay. We have been concentrating on 3 areas: Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas, because those are our good, strong areas of growth at the moment. And when I say growth, I don't mean they suddenly are going sky high, but we're seeing a slight increase in people wanting to buy in these areas. So they are all good areas that we're actually purchasing. Let's say that the after repair value, ARV, after repair value, so that means to bring it back to how it was before you took your frustration out on the property. Yes? So in other words, if I've got property here, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith here, and this property was repossessed, but Mr. and Mrs. Smith has been in their property for 5-6 years and they're very good people. They put their property on the market, after the repair value will be the same value as this couple's property. Do you all understand?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's nothing that going back 2-3 years, we're talking about the current market value. Let's assume the actual after repair value would be $185,000. Guys, I am actually in the States, everything is dollars, not pounds, okay? Let's say we negotiate to buy this from the bank for $115,000. Substantial discount? Yeah? Okay. Let's say that the rehab figure is $20,000, okay? And we give something called an incentive package to the actual purchaser of $10,000. So this is why people respond to our adverts. One, we advertise that there is the tax credit, which most people are not aware about. And 2, we actually give them an incentive package. The incentive package is cash in their hand at closing. At this point in time, they can utilise some of this money for utility bills and mortgage payments. They can also use it for buying furniture, because if these are first-time buyers, they're going to want to furnish their property. So is this going to be attractive that somebody's going to give them cash at the actual closing? Yes or yes?
Yep.
Okay, so let's see my mathematicians. What's the actual total outlay? Huh?
45.
145, okay. So after all of this, what does it leave as a profit for me? 40,000 profit. Is that going to be a good return? Would you like to know how long this takes? Maximum of 120 days. Your money is out for a very short space of time.